Fauci's colleagues thought that COVID-19 looked like it might be lab manipulated. This was revealed 2 different times, starting in January of 2020 in these emails. And I have some of these emails printed out because I think that it is worth reading some of these emails. So this came from Christian Anderson. On January 31st of 2020. Think about how early that was into this pandemic. This was before the lockdowns, right? When they were studying the genome of the virus, they found, or this Christian Anderson, this virologist, thought that the virus was inconsistent with the idea of natural emergence. This is what Christian said. The unusual features of the virus make up a really small part of the genome. So one has to look really closely at all the sequences to see that some of the features potentially look engineered. I mean, that's a really bombshell sentence. Some of the features potentially look engineered. This was Fauci's response. Thanks, Christian. Talk soon on a call. And what did Fauci say to us? He said it wasn't manipulated in a lab. He said scientists agree that it was a naturally emerging virus. Why did Fauci lie to us about it? We have to go back to what we talked about last week, this funding treat from the NIH to the NIAID. Fauci gave money to Peter Daszak, who gave money to Dr. Shi. Peter Daszak, meanwhile, in the Lancet Medical Journal, organized this group of virologists to write this letter saying that they thought, in their professional opinion, that this was a naturally emerging virus, but they gave no evidence of it. And it was organized by a man who had every incentive to make people believe it was naturally emerging and not something that was manipulated in a lab. So Fauci knew about this stuff and he lied. So the second reference to this is he sent to a colleague an email that said, please handle, after a virologist emailed saying that he thought that there was evidence of tampering. Okay, so this is what the email said. We think there's a possibility that the virus was released from a lab in Wuhan, the biotech area of China. We also think that the virus might be comprised with another organism, such as yeast, or combined with another organism, such as yeast or fungus, to make it more sticky. So this is someone from Cornell Medical School, a Cornell Medical School graduate. He's a professor, and he practices privately. He sends this information to Dr. Fauci, and Dr. Fauci forwards it to a colleague at the NIAID with just the phrase, please handle. He was discussing the idea that this virus might have leaked from a lab back in early 2020, and then he lied to us about it. He said, nope, this couldn't possibly be manipulated in a lab. Okay? So then this, I think, is just astounding. This is an astounding email. This email is from Peter Daszak to Dr. Fauci, sent on Saturday, April 18th, 2020. It says, Tony, as the recipient of the grant publicly targeted by Fox News reporters at the presidential press briefing last night, I just wanted to say a personal thank you on behalf of our staff and collaborators for publicly standing up and stating that the scientific evidence supports a natural origin for COVID-19 from a bat to human spillover, not a lab release from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. There's then a large chunk of this email that is redacted. It's blacked out. You can see it right there. It's blacked out. And he goes, from my perspective, your comments are brave and coming from your trusted voice will help dispel the myths being spun about the virus's origins. Once this pandemic's over, I look forward to thanking you in person and let you know how important your comments are to all of us. Cheers, Peter. Peter Daszak thanked Fauci for publicly dismissing the lab leak. That was April 18th, 2020. I mean, can you get more corrupt than this? We knew this was happening, but to see it in person, that's not all. Dr. Fauci, according to his emails, told a woman named Sylvia Burwell that masks don't work. Masks don't work. Okay, he goes, Sylvia, masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infection. The typical mask you buy in a drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus, which is small enough to pass through the material. It might, however, provide some slight benefit to keep out gross droplets if someone coughs or sneezes on you. I do not recommend that you wear a mask, particularly since you are going to a very low risk location. Your instincts are correct. Money is being spent on medical countermeasures such as diagnostics and vaccines. Safe travels. Best regards, Tony. The typical mask you buy in a drugstore is not really effective for keeping out virus, which is small enough to pass through the material. The only thing that it might do is if someone sneezes in your face. I mean, can you imagine this? Dr. Fauci was behind then the entire push for mask mandates in our country. And that when I read this email, I thought to myself, the next time I walk in a restaurant, the next time I walk in a store that still has a mask mandate and someone asks me to put on a mask, all I want to say to them is Dr. Fauci said in his emails that masks don't work because the aerosols from the virus itself, are small enough that they simply go through the mask. He said that in an email. What science has changed since then? Every place that mandates a mask should have to answer that. What science has changed since Dr. Fauci said that masks don't work? Have we found out anything different? No, we haven't. We haven't found out anything different. Dr. Fauci just abandoned the science in favor of politics, okay?
Hi. Before you go, let me talk to you about something. As you know, I've been censored on Facebook and YouTube, so I partnered with locals to create a censorship-free community. I also just launched my show, and I have a lot of exciting new things coming up that I want to make sure I can share with you and get your input on. I'm going to be sharing behind-the-scenes looks of my set and my show prep, and I get a lot of questions about my hair and makeup routines, my research process, and so much more. So I'll give you sneak peeks of all of that. I'll also be doing exclusive segments of my show just for Locals VIPs. All of my interviews will be shared on Locals for VIPs to watch as well. I'll be taking questions directly from VIPs for the video mailbag in my show, and you'll get the episodes free from ads. Who doesn't love that? Not to mention, I'll keep doing everything that you've already come to love. Ask me questions for live Q&As. Let's talk about your favorite books, what yummy vegan food I'm eating for lunch, and what ridiculous headlines I'm reading today. You can do all of that and more, but only if you are a Liz Wheeler Show VIP on Locals. The monthly subscription is $9 a month, but if you really want a good deal, we have an annual subscription for just $72. That's 4 months free. 4 months. So join me on Locals as a VIP. I'll see you over there.